cheat sheet, and that brings us to the fantasy cheat sheet. You need it going by now, but we'll get you started with the running backs so you can be prepared going into your draft. Marcus, how are you looking at the running backs here in 2022?
Well, it's become common now in drafts to go wide receiver the first couple rounds of the draft, which means probably rounds 3 and later, you're starting to look at your running backs. So I got a handful of guys here. First off is Ezekiel Elliott. And I feel like the rumors of Zeke's demise have been greatly exaggerated. I mean, fantasy Twitter has put Tony Pollard in the Cowboys' ring of honor yet, but everything the Cowboys have said is that Zeke is still the workhorse back. And this is a guy who was a top 10 running back while playing on an injured knee last year. So I expect him to continue to still get a ton of touches. I think he's still going to be productive. And right now, he's available for a 3rd-round pick. Then if you're waiting till the 4th round, Elijah Mitchell is there from the San Francisco 49ers. And we always want part of a Kyle Shanahan running game. And last year when we thought maybe Trey Sermon was the Niners rookie to watch, it turned out to be Elijah Mitchell. And he really has grasped that number 1 running back role. Now, injury is a concern, but as long as he's healthy, he's going to get plenty of opportunities in a very innovative and very productive running game. And then you want to wait till maybe the 5th round. There's A.J. Dillon, who really is starting to climb up draft boards. But it's been very exciting to hear the Packers talk about having 2 1A backs with Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon. Aaron Rodgers himself saying that he thinks both Jones and Dillon can catch 50 passes. And sneakily, with no Davante Adams, maybe some of those slant throws that were available near the goal line turned into rushing opportunities, which only boost Dillon's upside. Plus, if you love a guy with just huge quads, Dillon is your guy there.
Yeah, huge quads, a huge opportunity for Dillon. And yeah, go ahead and get Zeke before Tony Pollard just retires on this fame of being a future Hall of Famer based on just a few carries. Let's get to the wide receivers. Rank, how are we looking at that this year?
Well, let's not talk about the obvious ones. I gave you Justin Jefferson, and all of a sudden, here comes Florio. Like, Justin Jefferson, greatest player ever. Listen, here's some guys a little bit further down the board that you might want to take advantage of. Let's start with T. Higgins. Now, obviously, everybody loves Jamar Chase for good reason. I was even talking about him yesterday. But the thing is T. Higgins has been one of the most consistent wide receivers over the first 2 years of his career. He's had at least 100 targets in each one of those seasons, averaging over 20 fantasy points per game. His ADP, somewhere around the 3rd round. He's going off the board. It was about the wide receiver 13. So maybe the secret is out a little bit, but you do want to fire in on. And a guy who you could get probably just immediately after him, DJ Moore. And I've had problems with DJ Moore in the past with the inconsistency, but I think that has more to do with his quarterback than anything else. He's probably playing with the best quarterback of his career, which I don't know if that's something to brag about. Like, hey, look at me. But in any event, he's had at least 1,200 scrimmage yards in 3 consecutive seasons. I feel like he is a very consistent player now, or will have that consistency brought out of him with Baker Mayfield as the quarterback. And finally, let's talk about Mike Williams. Now, easily one of the best offenses in the NFL. You want to go ahead and get all those Charger players. Keenan Allen, again, one of the most consistent guys. But last year, Mike Williams, 9 receiving touchdowns, 10 red zone targets, at least in 4 consecutive seasons. He gets a lot of air yards. And again, you know what? If you miss out on the price on Keenan Allen, you can come back, get Mike Williams somewhere around wide receiver 20 and be the better for it.
Yeah, great option. And all 3 options that Mike Florio can't possibly complain about. There's no feasible way that he could do that.
Well, we're all going in the 1st round now.
We'll see if he has a chance. Give us some tight ends, Mike.
Yeah, Rank, I don't know if you can get this guy away from me because I've literally built an entire position strategy around Kyle Pitts. It's Kyle Pitts in the 3rd round, no matter what, if he is there. I mean, did you see his 50-yard catch the other day? That easily, if it was on the money, could have been an 80-yard touchdown. He is the only tight end in the league, I believe, who can do that. He lived up to the billing last year as a generational tight end talent, and I expect a year 2 leap, and I expect more than 1 touchdown this year. He's not going to have just 1 touchdown. I expect a lot more, so I think a monster upside. He brings monster upside at a position that does not have much, and if I miss out on him, I just wait until like the 9th, 10th round, and I target Cole Kmet because volume. He was Fields' top target and had almost all of his passing yards in the preseason game they played together. He is in a position to see a bunch of volume behind Darnell Mooney, and I think that makes him a low-end tight end 1 worth drafting. And if I miss out on him, then I just wait a round or 2 and pivot to Irv Smith Jr., who averaged nearly 13 fantasy points per game in games without without Kyle Rudolph in 2020. That would have made him the tight end 5 last year, and then he got hurt in the preseason, but Tyler Conklin saw 87 targets in a role that was built for Irv Smith. I think he has tight end 1 upside, and you could get him for even cheaper.
You know what? If I may make a point, Patrick,
Yes.
because I know you'll hear this a lot. Whenever somebody talks about Kyle Pitts, they're like, what about his quarterback? Go look up the stats of Delaney Walker when Marcus Mariota was his quarterback. Best years of his career. So don't worry about the quarterback. Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt.
That's not interrupting. That's not interrupting at all, because it leads me directly to the quarterbacks. And yeah, there's no Desmond Ridder or Marcus Mariota on my list. And honestly, there's no Patrick Mahomes or Lamar Jackson either. If you want those guys, you're going to have to pay up for them. I'm looking at a little bit down the board, and I'll start with one Jalen Hurts, who I think is going to have a better version of his breakout 2021 season. The offense was better. He was the quarterback 9. But the quarterback 1 before an ankle injury down the stretch. I think if you're looking for a quarterback around round 7, get him if he's there. After that, I am looking for a piece of the Kyle Shanahan offense and Trey Lance, who, of course, we want for the rushing upside. But he had the 2nd highest passing touchdown rate in 2021. And after round 10, I think for Trey Lance, with what he's going to do, is going to be a steal. But to me, if you're really waiting, if you are waiting a long time on a quarterback, in some leagues on NFL.com right now, you can get Jameis Winston after Carson Wentz. Like, what? I know he's coming back from an ACL, but the quarterback 14 a year ago is going as the quarterback 22 right now, and the math just isn't necessarily mathing correctly for me. So if you want to wait, Jameis is an option. You can get these value picks, and it's not really hurting you that much in a total points over the course of the season outlook. And that's what we're looking to do: get value, but also get some guys you can enjoy watching. We hope you enjoy watching us here on Fantasy Live. We're going to be here 5 days.